And after that, his music came on. The whole crowd popped, went off. Welcome back to another episode of Wrestle Capsule, where you're going to be getting your weekly dose of pro wrestling talk. And I'm your host, B. So welcome back to the show. Today we are going to be talking about what happened last night on AEW's All Out pay-per-view. Let's get right into it. Let's talk about these 0-hour matches. The AAA World Mixed Tag Team Championship between Sammy Guevara and Melo versus Ruby Soho and Ortiz. So I love how it all started out. Even before they got into the ring, they were in the back. You know, Ty and Sammy always got to be all up on each other, making out, just gross, team gross. And I think Ruby Soho and Ortiz were in like a golf cart or some sort of like vehicle, like just. Long story short, they ran Sammy Guevara over and ran them out all the way to the ring. And what's crazy is the fact that neither Sammy nor Ty were looking like they were ready for the match. It's almost as if they were caught off guard, which is what I think they were going for, because Sammy was in like a full like pink color flamingo suit. And Melo was in like this glittery top and these like leather pants. Like, they did not look like they were ready for a match. But Ruby and Ortiz did. They had their war paint on. They were ready to go. So overall, this match, I would say it was a fun match. I wish it would have went longer, one. And two, what really got on my nerves is the fact that once again, Jade interfered with the match and the champions retained the mixed tag team championship. So I was annoyed about that, because she had already did this prior when they had their face off. I think that was on Rampage. Don't quote me on that. But the last time that Sammy and Ty and Ruby and Ortiz had their match, Anna Jay interfered, and I'm just like, this chick keep coming out. Like, I'm wanting one of these days Ruby to get a hold of her, snatch her up. Like, I'm waiting for that match to happen, because I'm tired of her coming out. And I get she is Ty Melo's best friend. She's in JAS, like all this other crap. But I'm sick of her. She getting on my nerves, my last nerves. Miss choking out everybody. I'm going to choke you out. I'm going to choke you out. Like, have several seats at the park. But anyway, overall, other than that part, it was okay. At one point, I thought that Ruby Soho and Ortiz were going to win, and I was excited about it, but they didn't. Anyway, so the next match on the 0-hour show was between Hook and Cool Hand Ange for the FTW Championship, and honestly, that match was, I feel like that was a throwaway match. You probably already knew that Hook was going to retain the FTW Championship. This man has had an undefeated streak. I don't even know which number he's on right now, but he has not lost a single match. And I was not thinking that Cool Hand Ange was going to be the one to change that. So, I mean, yeah. The funny part was that Angelo came out with his road dog, Daddy Magic Matt. Like, those two were so funny. I remember on Rampage, they were like having kind of like a square off with Hook in the back, and they're basically telling him that they were going to take the title from the FTW Championship. And I remember Cool, wait, what is his name? Cool, I put those two together. Daddy Magic? This is too many weird nicknames. Daddy Magic Matt. Basically, he was like, we're going to get the taste of the titles. And he said, it was so funny. And I remember JR was like, what the hell did he say? And Jericho was like, they said they want the taste of the titles. They want to win. So that was in the back of my mind when those two were coming out to the ring. But yeah, that match, like I said before, was a throwaway match. So the next match I want to talk about is for the All-Atlantic Championship. So it was Champion Pac versus Kip Sabian. I almost forgot how good Kip Sabian was. Like, it's been so long since I've seen him wrestle, and it was really good to see him wrestle. And I'm glad that Pac was able to retain the All Atlantic Championship, because I feel like he's had that for like, it hasn't been long, and he needs to have more defense matches, like to defend his All Atlantic Championship. I feel like we need to see more of him. Like, this title should be just as important as the TNT. You know what I'm saying? So, like, I'm glad that he retained, because I would have been super pissed if he didn't. I feel like with this match, Kip Sabian had a lot to prove. Like, despite the whole box man thing that he's going for, like, he definitely, like I said, he reminded me, I'm pretty sure he reminded the crowd and people who were watching, like, who Kip Sabian is. I remember when he first came out, when they were all in Daly's place, and we first got to see him, like, he was good on the mic and he was great in the ring. So, like, we just got reminded who he was, and overall, that was a good match. Call me crazy, but the match between Eddie Kingston and Ishii, if I'm saying his name wrong, I'm sorry, y'all. I listened to them say it last night on the pay-per-view, and I still can't get it. So I'm going to say Ishii, okay, Ishii versus Kingston. I feel like that match was just a chest chop slap session. I don't know. I didn't enjoy the match as much as I thought I would, and I feel like it just started off slow with just like, it just was very stagnant to me. They just kept going back and forth. Slap, 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 slap. It was a Punisher match. It was just like, who has the strongest slap? Who's gonna hurt the other person the most? I wish I could have appreciated it more, but I just couldn't get into it. Eddie ended up winning that match. And what was interesting to me was that Eddie was so gung-ho about showing Ishii so much respect after the match ended. And he kept pointing to him and just like, don't be telling the crowd, like, don't clap for me and cheer for me. Cheer for him. He's a freaking legend. Like, and I thought that was so dope. And what was cool was the fact that Ishii was just like, because Eddie came out of the ring to kind of help him, because that man was like stumbling and trying to stay up. Like, his equilibrium was off at that point after that match, because it started picking up after they got done slapping the crap out of each other. You know what I'm saying? But Ishii was just like, don't touch me, because he was trying to help him. He was just like, I don't want you touching me. Like, I don't like you. I lost. Okay, we not gonna have no coup de la-ness. I was just like, ooh, okay. That's a way to end it. I like that. So, I mean, I would like to see them have another match, but this time less chest chops. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I really started getting into it after the chest chops, when they started striking each other and throwing each other into the turnbuckle pads. Like, that's when I was getting into it. I was like, okay, y'all took a while, but we're here. Okay, we're out of 0 hour. Now we're into the main match card for the casino ladder match. We can skip all the extra stuff. So it was Claudio Castagnoli, Wheeler Yuta, Penta, Ray Fenix, Roosh, Andrade, and Dante Martin. And then there was going to be a Joker. So I'm not going to talk about how the match was going, because you and me know we don't care about that. What we care about is who that Joker was. And I remember in my predictions video for All Out, if you guys didn't watch that, check it out. I know All Out's done, but it's still a good episode. Just go check it out. I might put it here or here. But I was predicting that it was going to be MJF to be the Joker, right? So fast forward, and then the Joker, we're expecting the Joker come out, because, you know, the time clock's done. But no, we see a group of men in black coming out, beating up all the wrestlers that are in this casino ladder match. And you see one man in black, short. I saw, like, because everyone was wearing gloves, but I saw that him in particular, I could see, like, he had darker skin, and I'm like, Scorpio Sky? But I was like, wait, no, Scorpio Sky is not that short. So who the freak is it? He goes up, climbs up the ladder, gets the chip, takes the mask off, and I'm like, freaking Stokely Hathaway? Like, what the frick are you doing? Like, actually, what the actual frick are you doing? And then I'm like, wait, so I hear Taz be like when he's doing the commentary, he's like, I know that's not the Joker. I know that for sure. And I'm like, if Stokely is not the Joker, then who the freak is it? And next thing you know, that song by the Rolling Stones, I think it's called Sympathy for the Devil. I hate that song, by the way. Came on, and I'm like, okay. And then this man comes out with this ugly mask on, this black and white mask on, and he's walking. I'm looking at us. I'm seriously trying to figure out who the freak this is. I'm looking at the stature. I'm looking at I'm just looking at the way this person moves, and I'm like, who is this? And it's crazy because I think it was when he wiped his shoes off and got in the ring. Like, the way he did his hair, I know you guys are like, girl, you extra. I'm like, no, I was right, though. And then he spun, like, he did his little spin, and he had his hands out. He was so cocky with it. And Stokely put the chip in his hand. Ding, 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 over. Joker won the casino ladder match. And just by the way he was moving his mannerisms, I was just like, I know that's MJF. I know that's freaking MJF. I would bet. I'm not a bettor and I'm not a gambler, but I would bet a lot of money on that. And I even saw the little details. I was looking at like his his sleeve was coming up, and I could see like this crazy tan. And you know MJF tans, his tans are ridiculous. That junk be rubbing off. I was like, I know it's MJF now because that tan is ridiculous. It's so damn dark. So I was just like, okay, I'm sold. I know it's him. So I was like, okay. So he's Joker. He won the match. This person was about to remove the mask. And then he was like, and I was like, now I know that's him, because he would do that all the time when, especially with CM Punk, when they were having their run. And they were like, you want me to fight? You want me to have a match with him? And he'd be like, so yeah, that happened. It was crazy because he came out and people had no idea in the crowd. I could tell because it was silent. Everyone was like, who the freak is this? So the next match I want to talk about is for the Trios Championship. So it is the Elite, which is Kenny Omega and Young Bucks, versus the Dark Order, Alex Reynolds and John Silver and Hangman Adam Page. So I was mad. I'm going to just be honest. I was mad as freak. I wanted Hangman Adam Page and the Dark Order to win the Trios. I'm telling you, like, we all know the Young Bucks and Kenny Omega were going to win, because I know dang well Tony Khan was not going to have Kenny Omega come back on a regular Dynamite show, have that huge pop, everyone be so happy, he fill in and complete the Elite for them to compete in the Trios tournament, only for them to lose at All Out? No, senor. That did not make sense to me. So I knew that they were going to win the Trios Championship, but I didn't want them to. Some of the highlights for me from this match was, one, when John Silver everyone was outside the ring, and he just started tearing through everyone outside the ring. It was crazy. And then the other one, oh my gosh, when Kenny literally did Adam Page's move on him. And then when John Silver freaking countered Kenny Omega's one wing angel with that roll up, I don't think I've ever seen anyone do that. I went off. Page accidentally striked John Silver, and then that's how Kenny was able to get the pin. I'm like, oh my gosh, but there were so many near falls. Oh my gosh. I kept moving in and out of, jumping up out of my seat because I didn't know who was going to win. And I just love seeing these two trios teams. I can't even call them tag teams. These two trios teams work within their group. It was incredible. This was one of my favorite matches of the night. It was so good. And there were so many like close calls and near falls. Like, I oh my gosh, it was I kept It was blowing my mind. And there's another match like that that we'll get into in a little bit. That was like my second favorite. Well, yeah, it was my second favorite match, but we'll get into that a little bit later. Alex, I love the Dark Order. I love the Dark Order, and I feel like whenever you put like two of the Dark Order members within a match together, they're always gonna create such good moments. But there's something about Alex and John where you put them two together, and it's just so good. It's so good. They're so good together. Yeah, I was pissed off. I was pissed off that they lost, but it is what it is. And I guess it makes sense because Kenny Omega just came back. And by the way, Kenny Omega, I'm telling you, I call BS, okay? He was fighting like this man ain't never had a surgery, okay? He was in there and oh my God, he's one of my favorites in AEW, hands down. I loved when they had the showdown between Kenny and Adam Page because they were tag team champions at one point. They were all friends together, the Young Bucks, Kenny Omega, Hangman Adam Page, the Elite, like all in there. So to see them two have a showdown, I was looking forward to it. I was like, it's bound to happen. Like, come on, they have so much history, especially in AEW. Okay. Let me know if you guys feel the same way. I am over people interfering in championship matches and not getting kicked out. Okay? Do your job, ref. Do your job. Segue into the next match I want to talk to you guys about, which is for the TBS Championship. Jade Cargill versus Athena. So this whole buildup of these two having a match, the actual match itself did not deliver. And I'm partly not surprised. Did I want Athena to win? Duh, who didn't? Like, I'm over this whole Jade Cargill streak. If Athena wasn't going to win and get the TBS Championship, I'm wondering who. I'm wondering who in the back is Tony Khan building and getting them ready to defeat Jade and break this streak. This whole, like, the match itself, like, there was a time it was like in the beginning of the match where Athena hit her freaking finisher and she was about to pin Jade, but of course the stupid baddies had to pull her out of the ring. And I'm just like, oh my gosh, she did get her sweet revenge on that. She freaked both of them girls up, especially Kira Hogan. But that was not enough. And honestly, I feel like those two, their chemistry was kind of, in the ring, was kind of like, bleh. And it's crazy because they looked like they had so much beef. Like, they were building up this match. And I was only looking forward to it because of Athena. And I'm just being totally honest. You guys already know how I feel about Jade Cargill. I feel like this streak is overkill. And it's been over. And now she's 37-0. And I'm like, what are we doing now? What are we doing now? She just continues to squash and just fly through all the women in the AEW women's division. Like, what is next for her? What is next for her? So, like, that. And it makes me wonder, is her keeping the championship making it better for the next person? I wonder, because at this point, like, there's one thing to have a streak and it elevate the championship, but then it's another thing to have a winning streak and it be so, like, outlived that it kind of makes the value of the championship kind of be like, I will say this though. I'm seeing that I will give credit where credit is due. I'm not all about bashing, okay? Before you guys want to come at me in the comments. I will say this. I'm seeing some improvement in Jade Cargill's moves and how she executes her moves in the ring. One thing in particular, that pump kick that she got on Athena, I was like, yes. Yeah, that thing looked serious. Like, Athena got kicked into next year. I was like, okay, girl. So her power moves are getting better. I would just like to see more from Jade, but I do see improvement. I do see some improvement. So another trios match that they had on the match card was between Wardlow and FTR versus MCMG and Jay Lethal. But and the thing is, everyone had an opportunity to be in the ring with one another. But I was noticing throughout the match, it was mostly MCMG and FTR having the most interaction with one another, which makes sense. They are solid. FTR is a solid tag team, and MCMG, I'm always trying not to mess that up. They're a solid tag team from Impact. So I noticed that. Overall, the match was good, but I'm a humongous fan of Chris Sabin and Alex Shelley for that matter. So I like Jay Lethal, but I really like MCMG. So I wanted them to win, but of course they weren't going to win because that would make the champions look bad. What I would want is scratch all this trio stuff and just have MCMG versus FTR. Now that's what I would love to see. No interference. Just those four having a match. That's what I would want to see. Yo, I was not expecting Powerhouse Hobbs to win in that match with Ricky Starks. I remember in my predictions video, I said that I was expecting Ricky Starks to win because, he's a new babyface. And I don't know, he went out on his own. He cut out that crazy promo after his match with Hook, and everyone was for him in the crowd. So I was expecting him to win, but to see Powerhouse Hobbs win, I don't hate it. It's nice to see Powerhouse Hobbs get some shine. He didn't win any championship yet, not even the FTW championship. The match was definitely too short. And Hobbs just overpowered Ricky. Obviously, he's humongous. So it would have been nice to have that match be a little bit longer, especially they used to be, Powerhouse Hobbs said they were never friends, but they were in a group together. They were tag teams at one point together. So you would think that match would be at least a little bit longer, but it was too short. It was just too short. I feel like Tony put all of these matches in All Out. 15 matches in this. And I guess with all those matches in a 4-hour pay-per-view, some matches were going to get the short end of the stick and be shorter. But I feel like that match should not have been that short, with the buildup of that and the beef between old friends. You know what I'm saying? So I'm assuming that this whole beef rivalry thing between Ricky Starks and Powerhouse Hobbs is far from over, because if it is, that would be stupid. That would be stupid booking. So I'm assuming these two are going to go at it again, because Ricky Starks ain't going to go out like that. No, absolute Ricky Starks is not going to go out like that. Remember I said that there are two matches within this whole entire pay-per-view that were my favorites. This is the second one. So Swerve in Our Glory versus the Acclaimed for the AEW World Tag Team Championships. I wanted let me say this, because I remember in my predictions video, I was saying I wish instead of it being the Acclaimed, it would have been Private Party, because Private Party has not gotten the shine that they deserve. But that's neither here nor there. But between Swerve in Our Glory and the Acclaimed are so over with the fans. I said this before, but it bears repeating. They're so over with the fans. They're charismatic. They are good in the ring. They work together well. They're just all around entertaining and funny, even though their gimmick can be annoying sometimes and controversial most of the times. I feel like between those two teams, the Acclaimed would have been the better choice, because they're actual tag team. Strickland and Lee are single competitors from a previous company, yes, I'm saying it, from a previous company, sandwiched together as a tag team. And they were amazing in their own right by themselves. And when you put two great wrestlers together, they're gonna make ring magic. I get that. But one team is over, the other team, I mean, you hear the fans, they still singing, oh, bask in glory. Whose house? Swerve house. You hear them saying that, but they wanted the Acclaim, just like I did. So, no, Swerve and Our Glory retained the AEW World Tag Team Championships. And I could hear the boos. I could hear the boos. Yo, like, they told, one thing I will say about this match, that I liked it. I loved it, even though it did not go the way I wanted it to. And I feel like that's just bad on Tony's part. Like, I feel like that was not a smart move to keep the belts on those two men, Strickland and Lee. I don't think that was smart at all, Tony Khan. I'm talking to you. The story that was being told in the ring was just beautiful, because I remember, I forgot who it was. I think it was Swerve Strickland talking about how Bowens is always disappointing Max Caster because of his injury and always coming short. And it's crazy because that's exactly what was happening in that match. Like, his knee, I forgot which knee it was, but it was giving out and it was hurting. Strickland and Lee were targeting that ankle, but he kept going. And I was like, this is what I'm talking about. That's what was making me thinking that the Acclaimed was going to win. And when Max Caster picked up Keith Lee on his shoulders, I about left out, fell out. Yes, he's big, but Keith Lee is a big man. And it was funny. I forgot who was talking about. I don't know if it was Excalibur or if it was Taz. He was talking about how, like, he was like, look at him quads. He got big quads. Compared to Keith, he's small, but he's so strong. And to see him pick him up and throw him down like that, I was just like, they had me fooled. They had me bamboozled, scallywwinked. Like, I thought the Acclaim was gonna win, but they didn't. It was foul. Yeah, Lee and Swerve are definitely acting like heels, and it made us like the Acclaimed even more. So I'm wondering if there's going to be another match between these four, because that needs to happen. I think so. I feel like the fans deserve a rematch with that. Okay, so let me talk to y'all about this AEW Interim Women's Championship match between Toni Storm, Hikaru Shida, Britt Baker, and Jamie Hayter. So I already told y'all, I thought that was a hot mess express, that you already got two former AEW Women's champions within this match of this four-way match. I thought that was like booty cheeks, stupid, because that's not fair. So I was assuming that Toni Storm was gonna win, and honestly, out of all four of those, because I remember in my predictions video, I didn't say I wanted Toni Storm to win. I said that I predict that Toni Storm was going to win, because like I said before in my other videos, Toni is going to push Toni. When the match started, I started really, because I didn't know who I wanted to win originally. But as the match was going on, I really wanted Jamie Hayter to win. Like, I really wanted her to win. That would have been so cool. And it's crazy because the crowd was cheering for Jamie Hayter. I was expecting them to be all, Team Toni, because she's being pushed down our throat. But yeah, people were for Jamie Hayter too, and I was starting to get for Jamie Hayter. And it's funny because throughout the match, Britt and Jamie were trying so hard not to attack one another, and Britt was always having Jamie help her take out the other two. But at one point, Britt Baker freaked up Jamie's pin and pulled her out and was like, I'm sorry. I'm just like, no, you're not. You're only for you. So in the end, Toni took advantage of that issue between Jamie and Britt and capitalized and DDT'd and won the match. And that whole group with Rebel, Britt Baker, and Jamie Hayter needs to cease and desist. Like, just stick with Rebel and Britt Baker and let Jamie Hayter go out on her own. I feel like it's time. I feel like it's been time. I think it's past due. I don't think Jamie needs those two anymore. I love how Jamie Hayter picked up Hikaru Shida and she literally carried her up the ramp and freaked her up. And then of course they had like the AEW officials and doctors trying to check up on her because she was freaked up. Like, she got freaked up. Took her in the back. I was like, well, I guess Hikaru Shida ain't in this match anymore. But then she came out with Revenge with 2 kendo sticks. I'm just like, oh shoot, okay, what you gonna do? But that didn't help out too much because they started ganging up on her and freaking her up. So yeah, Toni Storm is now the AEW interim women's world champion. So whenever Thunder Rosa heals back up, we know what's gonna happen. What the actual F with this whole match of Christian versus Jungle Boy? That match was so freaking short. I get it. Luchasaurus is on Christian's side now. I thought he was on Christian's side, but then he was back with Jungle Boy, but now he's back against Jungle Boy and with Christian. Like, I can't keep track. But anyway, he was freaking him up. Luchasaurus was freaking up Jungle Boy, and I guess that is the reason why Christian was able to pin him 1, 2, 3, and the match was done before it even started. I did hear through the grapevine that there was a reason why it was short, other than the fact that, it would be believable to have Luchasaurus beat up Jungle Boy and then have Christian capitalize on it. I might be wrong, but I heard that Christian is injured. I don't know how true that is, but that still sucks. So this whole rivalry thing is far from over. And it's funny because in my predictions video, I said that I wanted this rivalry, this beef between Jungle Boy and Christian to keep going, to not stop. I guess I got my wish. I was expecting Jungle Boy to win and then Christian to not be able to accept it, and then they keep going. But I guess now it really has to keep going, because to have Jungle Boy lose. So I'm probably going to be the only one who thinks this, but the match between Bryan Danielson and Chris Jericho, I wasn't invested into it. Was it a good match? Of course it's going to be a good match. Is Bryan Danielson and Chris Jericho. And it's a match between, theoretically, it's a match between a pro wrestler and a sports entertainer. I'm saying it the way Daddy Magic says it. It's sports entertainer. I would have liked Bryan Danielson to win the match. He didn't. Chris Jericho won. I feel like this match was to prove a point, because sports entertainers are seen as like jokes compared to pro wrestlers. It's been the whole thing between Bryan and Chris, and with Danny Garcia all in the middle of it. So Chris Jericho was trying to prove a point that he is the best wrestler and the best sports entertainer, that he can do both. And I feel like that's the point that they were trying to make with that match. The match definitely started off slow for me, and that's why I wasn't as invested. Maybe I'm just used to, boom, 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 boom. But I feel like with them pacing themselves in the match and selling the moves, and it was able to tell that story, and it got very technical, and that's when I started getting into it. Of course, Bryan Danielson is showing out his technical moves because he is such a technical wrestler, and Chris Jericho was pulling out his technical moves too. It would have been cool for pro wrestling to win as opposed to, a sports entertainer. It's sports entertainer. I love that part where they were all in the corner, and Chris Jericho was just wailing on Bryan Danielson and kept slapping him and slapping him and slapping his face. And at one point, Bryan just sat down and crossed his legs and just like went into like meditation mode. It was just like, basically, your hits ain't doing nothing to me. Because then right after he got done meditating, he just started freaking up Jericho. So there was a lot of trios matches in this pay-per-view, which makes sense because that is the trios championship. Is a brand new championship. So it makes sense to have multiple trios matches within the pay-per-view to showcase the amount of trios talent that they have to make the belts make sense. So the next trios match that was on the match card was House of Black versus Miro, Sting, and Darby Allin. I wasn't invested in this match either. I just wasn't. I didn't really care about it. Darby Allin, Sting, and Miro ended up winning. The highlight of that match for me, you're gonna laugh. So the highlight of the match for me was actually when Sting spit in Malachi Black's face. Because I thought that Malachi was gonna attack Sting, but he turned around and spit. And Malachi was just like, he turned around and started punching the air because he couldn't see. That was funny. Here we go to the main event for the AEW World Championship between champion Jon Moxley and CM Punk. Overall, the match was good. You guys already know. I will not say, I can't say that CM Punk is bad at wrestling. That is a false statement to the fullest. I just don't like his personality. I just don't like the vibe that I get off of him. But that's neither here nor there. Overall, like I said before, the match was very good. And CM Punk was moving very well considering that he had a foot injury. And it got bloody. And there were times in that match where I had to like do this number. I had to be like, okay, it's getting bloody. Moxley was getting dirty. And what I mean by that, CM Punk was getting thrown into steps. He was getting choked out. Like it was getting crazy. And then when Punk was just bleeding all over his face, Moxley took advantage of that and started like scratching at his wound and making him bleed more, and just like then he licked his hand, like Moxley with Punk's blood on his hand, he licked his hand. I'm like, Moxley, stop. Oh my gosh, like it got bloody. That ring mat was bloody. But and then at one point got out of the ring and they just started going at it in the crowd, and I was here for it. I love when matches get taken out of the ring. It either go in the crowd or go in the back or whatever. I love when it moves. There were times where I thought Jon Moxley was going to retain, but based off of the prediction that I made in my predictions video for All Out, I had a feeling that CM Punk was going to win that belt because of MJF coming back. And it just to make whatever Tony Khan was trying to do make sense, especially when he was hitting them GTSs, man. That's when I'm like, this man is really going to win this belt. Like he's really going to win this belt. And I was starting to think I was going to be wrong because honestly, I feel like Moxley was controlling the majority of the match. Like he had Punk. Like there was times where, like I said, like Punk was hitting them GTSs like nobody's business. But Moxley was manhandling CM Punk. He was freaking up his leg, had him in these holds on the mat, twisting his leg, freaking up his knee. Like he was ruthless with that junk. So I was starting to second guess my prediction. But in the end, CM Punk won the AEW World Championship from Jon Moxley. Celebrating, yay, CM Punk. Lights go out. People are like, ooh. They're like, what the frick is going on? I'm thinking, what the frick is going on? But I was like, wait a minute. It's that Joker, isn't it? And then you see the Joker in the back in the video. standing there with the mask, turns around, takes that mask off so you only see the back of his head. It looks like a very MJF haircut. And then the moment I saw that Burberry scarf put around his neck, I was like, I freaking knew it. I freaking knew that it was MJF. Yes, I don't care what nobody says. Yes, that match was good. It was way better than I had expected. I didn't really care about that. I just wanted to know if I was right and when MJF was going to come, if he was going to come out. And after that, his music came on. The whole crowd popped, went off. He came out staring at CM Punk with his belt. Everyone's going off. Everyone's MJF, MJF, MJF. Shoot, I was marking out. When I tell you I was loud, I was marking out. I was so freaking excited. Like I did not know. Like I knew he was gonna be the Joker. I had a feeling he was gonna be the Joker, but I did not know he was gonna come out after the World Championship match. I did not know he was gonna come out. So everyone's chanting him, and he's basically be like, that's my belt, like, don't get it twisted, that's my belt. And everyone's still cheering him, and in heel fashion, MJF points to one side of the crowd, points to the other side of the crowd, puts up his middle fingers to both of them, and they're still, like, one of the few heels I know that could flip a whole crowd off and talk so much junk to them and still get cheered. I almost forgot to talk about that. I feel like that this is the only credit I'm going to give Tony Khan in this entire episode. Quoted, okay? That little part of like that little segment of before MJF came out, before his music hit, hearing that like recorded telephone call of Tony basically talking about how like, this is my last offer, I'm going to give you blank dollars, just come to All Out, you can be in the casino ladder match, just come, like basically like this is your last chance. Didn't even say MJF's name. Like it was just that was the icing on the cake. And I wonder whose idea that was. Honestly, that is the only credit I'm going to give Tony on that one. That's it. Let me know what you guys thought about AEW's All Out pay-per-view. Let me know in the comments below what you thought. Thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more episodes. Got some coming at you. Signing off. Bye.